Welcome to the Five Masks Holding Back a Man's True Purpose. My name is Artemis, founder of Sovereign Training Systems. Let's dive in. High performers don't burn out. They get stuck inside invisible patterns. In this presentation, I'm going to show you how you break them. The identity trap. Most men never meet their true purpose because they are too busy protecting the identity that made them successful. Many men build extraordinary lives, businesses, they attract wealth, families, reputation. From the outside, everything looks strong, but eventually every man must face a deeper question. Did I build my life from purpose or from pressure? Pressure can build success. Purpose builds legacies. Most leaders don't burn out because they're weak. They burn out because they've stayed strong for too long. If you're here, you're probably not failing. You are functioning well. Your life and leadership looks strong on the outside, but something inside may feel slightly off. High performance is not the same as being in alignment. What if your greatest strength in your life, family, and business is now becoming your greatest liability? The very traits that made you dependable, capable, successful may now be costing you alignment, clarity, and coherence. You can be winning in business and still be out of alignment. Leadership is a neurological, biological, and spiritual state. Leadership is not just strategy. You can lead powerfully when your nervous system is bracing for the next challenge or pain. Your body is holding stress and hypervigilance within your own nervous system, and when your mind is constantly monitoring for pressure. Many leaders are carrying weight within their nervous system they were never designed to hold, and this weight is invisible. All men and leaders will face three challenges in their life: sedation, the drift, and the tunnel. Every man called to their deeper purpose, every man called to rise and expand his kingdom will face all three of these challenges, and especially the tunnel, which we will cover that in just a moment. The difference between men who awaken and men who get caught sedating or drifting is through achieving greater self-awareness, self-mastery, and self-expression, alignment, coherence, and capacity. These three things are known as the trivium in Latin mystery schools. Self-awareness, self-mastery, and self-expression is the place where three roads meet into one. Pattern number one, sedation. Sedation happens when the nervous system of a man has carried too much pressure for too long. A man doesn't collapse, he flatlines. The pain of carrying the identity, the pressure of leadership, the weight of responsibility. Over time, all this becomes too heavy for the nervous system to process. So instead of learning how to discharge this energy and transform the pain, many men choose to sedate it, consciously or unconsciously. From the outside, he still looks successful, but internally, something begins to dull. Sedation in our culture often shows up as alcohol to quiet the mind, THC or drugs to soften the pressure, pornography to sedate the pain, endless Netflix and streaming to escape that pain, social media scrolling to numb their nervous system. Unfortunately, in today's world, we live in a culture where most men are sedated. In sedation, the man is still functioning and providing, but he's no longer leaning into his greatness. The fire inside begins to dim. This is not laziness. It's the nervous system protecting itself from overload. Pattern number two, the drift. Sometimes the awakening begins differently. Instead of sedation, a man experiences the drift. He is still functioning, still responsible, and he's still showing up for his family and his world, but something quietly disappears. When he was clear in the past, now his clarity fades. The excitement that once drove him to drive, to push, to succeed, it no longer excites him anymore. The drift actually happens slowly. The drift rarely happens overnight. It happens gradually. Many men drift for many reasons: loss of direction, disconnected from their purpose, lack of proximity to mentors and leaders who can help them. But something inside their soul begins asking deeper questions. No matter where a man is at any level of life, the drift is something he will face. When the drift becomes the tunnel, if the drift starts to linger for months or years after decades of success, hustling, and building their business, many leaders enter what I call the tunnel. Now, this often occurs between the ages of 40 and 55. The tunnel is a phase where his old identity begins to dissolve, but the new identity has yet emerged. This is not just a loss of motivation, it's something much deeper. The tunnel is also known as the descent into darkness. When a man enters the tunnel, everything he knows about himself begins to collapse and dissolve. It is the death of the ego that built his life as he knows it. Even though this is a sacred time for a man, many men going through the tunnel have a pain that they cannot speak. The more dark their life becomes around them, the less they know about themselves. Because men are driven by identity and purpose. Not having a solid ground in identity or direction can be one of the deepest pains and one of the deepest fears a man can transform. Inside the tunnel, many men begin questioning everything. Suddenly they have a loss of clarity, when clarity and certainty has always been there, a loss of motivation. The drift and sedation can become more consistent in the tunnel, and they're unconscious to it. They can't put words to this. This phase of a man's life is deeply disorienting, especially for high-performing men and leaders, because the identity that built their life, their business, and their success no longer fits the man that they are becoming. This is truly profound. The tunnel is not failure. It's a sacred rite of passage. This is the phase in a man's life where he begins discovering who he actually is beneath the identity he built to survive. If a man is not aware of his drift or the tunnel, he will just stay busy protecting the identity that made him successful when God is actually asking him to rise. In 2019, after 25 years in holistic medicine, serving over 45,000 people, working in 3 holistic medical clinics, this is my story. I built multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses, doing everything right over 25 years. But suddenly I woke up one morning and I began to question everything. What am I doing? Why am I even doing this? Was it even all worth it? I've successfully helped people cure and reverse cancer, diabetes, arthritis. I worked at 3 clinics. I'm trained in, I have the training of 4 doctors. I have been at the top of the mountain of holistic health. And I began asking myself these questions. Was it even all worth it? Externally, my life looked successful. I'm a mentor in my community. I was respected. I was admired. But internally, something was breaking inside me. The weight of being the hero. Eventually, I realized that something I'd never seen before. I'd been wearing a mask for 25 years of my life and career. Now, my primary mask was the hero and the overachiever, the one who carries the weight, the one who saves the victims, the one who holds everything together. If I stop winning, everything will fall apart. This is what I thought. And then God asked me to bend a knee and to rise. It was time for me to stop being a savior and start being a leader. If you're watching this right now and you're going through the tunnel, you're being asked the same question. The cost of staying the hero. When I got the call, I wasn't ready. So I stayed the hero for a few more years. And that choice cost me my health, my alignment, and my authority. Man, this sucked. When you lead as the hero long enough, your body eventually becomes the battlefield. The mask is not the problem. The mask we built around us are not flaws. They are brilliant nervous system adaptations formed under pressure. The problem is not that we wear the mask. The problem is that eventually we outgrow it. Here are the 5 masks leaders carry. Most men and leaders unconsciously operate through old survival patterns. The masks below are neurological adaptations to survive under pressure early in our life, and they are formed inside our family as we seek relevance and connection to our world. The 5 most common masks are the hero and overachiever, the protector and guardian, the people pleaser, the perfectionist, the overthinker, and the intellectualizer. Let's dive into these. These masks create a successful life until you outlive them. And the signs are burnout, sedation, and spiritual lethargy that you just cannot seem to shake. This spiritual lethargy is known as the tunnel. If a man is going through the tunnel, the weight of the mask is actually what is weighing him down, but he can't put his finger on it. And unveiling the mask is what helps him move through the tunnel with renewed power, clarity, and strength. And also identifying this mask, unveiling it, prevents all sedation and all drifting. Because when the mask is unveiled, you get a clear signal. You know who you are, you know how you serve, and you lead with victory, vision, and purpose. Mask number one, the hero and the overachiever. Now, this is also the extrovert, right brain dominant. The hero believes, if I stop, everything will fall apart. My worth comes from what I produce. I can rest after I win. If I succeed, I'll be loved. I'm responsible for holding it all together. Now, the cost of this is you build success, but you lose yourself, and eventually you lose your health and your ability to feel fulfilled. It never lands because you never feel like you've won. I can rest after I win, is what the hero thinks. Mask number two, the protector and guardian. The protector believes, if I stay alert, I won't be blindsided. Something could go wrong at any moment. I have to prepare for the worst. Trust has to be earned. If I relax, I'll be caught off guard. The cost here is you stay safe, but you constantly live in tension, second guessing, and never fully at ease, always scanning for threats. Mask number three, the people pleaser. If I'm needed, I won't be left alone. My value comes from helping others. If I say no, I'll lose connection. Other people's needs matter more than mine. If everyone is okay, then I'm okay. The cost here is you stay connected, but you lose your voice. You eventually lose your internal sense of direction and eventually your energy. Now, you may see yourself in a couple of these masks. That's because we carry two of them, primary and secondary. But when you take our sovereign power profile, you'll learn exactly which one you are. Mask number four, the perfectionist. Now, the perfectionist believes if I do things the right way, I won't be criticized. I have to hold myself to higher standards than everyone else. It's got to be perfect. Relaxing is dangerous because things will fall apart. If I stay disciplined, I'll be okay. The cost here of wearing this mask is you maintain control, but you sacrifice your joy, ease, and trust in yourself and others, and especially trust in your Heavenly Father. You're always chasing the perfect plan, the perfect diet, the perfect business model, but never feeling satisfied or content. Mask number five, the overthinker, the intellectualizer. Now, this is also the introvert, the left brain dominant person, the person who's good with systems and numbers and processes. The overthinker thinks, if I understand everything, I'll be safe. I just need more information before I act. The world asks too much of me. I must conserve my energy. Staying in my head is safer than being involved. This isn't right yet. I should do this better. The cost of the overthinker is you gain insight, but you lose momentum, impact, and connection to real life. You escape your mind to protect your heart. The five masks are the hero, the protector guardian, the people pleaser, the perfectionist, and the overthinker. Here is the hidden cost of wearing the mask. Masks do create results. The masks build essential skills to lead and win in your life. They are not wrong. They just got you to where you are until they become so heavy that they begin to take their toll on your health, your energy, alignment, and authority. High performance is not the same as being in alignment or in coherence with power. If you are a leader and people relax when you enter the room, your nervous system has most likely been paying the price, and often for far too long. And read that again. Leadership pressure accumulates quietly inside your central nervous system. Some leaders have been holding the line for so long, they don't know how long they've been holding that line for others until their body begins to suffer. Remember that this is an invisible weight stored in the nervous system. The real solution, it's not about motivation, mindset, or changing your beliefs. This is not about hacks, because all those tools stop working for the men that are watching this. This is about unveiling the mask you carry and shifting orientation, identity, and architecture in the life you lead and how you lead others. Any permanent change and transformation begins at the moment you shift your identity. Tools of transformation got you this far, but it's reclaiming your sovereign power that gets you the rest of the way. You are not broken. You are being called to rise and awaken. So, why did the tools of transformation stop working for me? Examples: mindset, emotional release, plant medicine, timeline therapy, gratitude, positive thinking, biohacking for mental clarity, Tony Robbins, matrix energetics, NLP, EFT, EMDR, and the list goes on and on and on. We have billions of dollars pouring through this transformation energy in this transformation system. And you're asking yourself, why am I not there yet? It's because these tools were built for regulation within your mask and survival, not liberation from it. They optimize for survival patterns. They don't dismantle the survival patterns or the mask. You are not here to transform. You are here to awaken. These tools work inside the mask, but not beyond it. Belief work, mindset, emotional intelligence, they all assume one thing. If I think better, feel better, or process better, I'll become free. You are already free. You are made in the image of God. And here's the truth. The mask is still the one doing the thinking. The mask is still the one doing the processing. So what happens is that the hero mask uses mindset to push harder. The protector mask uses emotional intelligence to stay guarded. The overthinker mask uses awareness and learning and knowledge to avoid action. Nothing changes. You just become a more refined version of the same survival pattern. Most transformational tools ignore the root issue. Your system cannot hold more power. And when a man's nervous system is overloaded, it does one of three things. It collapses, sedates, or drifts. So even if you change your beliefs, clear emotional blocks, take plant medicine, you still return to the same baseline, and you oscillate and get trapped in oscillating patterns. Power is not a mindset problem. It's a capacity and system problem. And many men and leaders are operating in chronic sympathetic dominance, performing well while internally depleted. All this becomes another form of control. And this is where it gets really subtle. Listen to me very carefully. Tools like journaling, breath work, ceremonies, emotional processing, they start as liberation, but inside the mask, they become control strategies to avoid feeling powerless. This man is not freeing himself. He is managing himself. All these tools were meant for earlier stages of the path. The tools of transformation are perfect for where those men are. Those tools got you here. They helped you build awareness, process trauma, expand perspective. But now you're at a different threshold. This especially shows up for men over 40. A man who has mastered the outer game, but feels something is still off inside. He can't quite put his finger on it. He doesn't necessarily need more tools. He needs new orientation, identity, and architecture. And here's the real reason the tools stop working. It's because the mask has completed its purpose, and now it may be costing you energy, clarity, intimacy, and presence. Each mask was a brilliant adaptation under pressure, not a flaw, but what protected you in the past is now limiting what you can become. Here's what actually creates your next level. Not more tools, not more processing, and not another breakthrough experience. It's this: orientation, where you put your focus with sovereign power; identity, not upgrading the mask, it's unveiling it; architecture, your daily patterns that govern neurology, biology, psychology, and your walk with God each day. You don't need more tools. You require shifting orientation, identity, and architecture through alignment, coherence, and capacity. Because you don't awaken by trying harder. You awaken when your system can finally hold who you truly are. The truth most men feel but can't say is you're not stuck, you're not broken, you're not missing another tool. You've simply reached the point where transformation is just one level. It's time to awaken. And that requires something deeper than mindset. It requires activating your sovereign power. The sovereign power path was born from my experience going through the tunnel. The Sovereign Power Path is the culmination of 25 years and 55,000 hours of studying the mind-body connection and the wisdom that emerged after walking through the tunnel myself and emerging on the other side. This is not another protocol. It's a new orientation and architecture for sovereign power, sovereign health, and sovereign leadership. There are three pillars of power: sovereign power, sovereign health, and sovereign leadership. Let's unpack these. Sovereign power begins with alignment. Alignment is your central nervous system, mask unveiled, recalibrated to safety so that you can now regenerate life and power. With sovereign power, you develop regenerative power. You start to look younger, rested, and full of life because your nervous system is strong, connected, and stable. Instead of making decisions for safety, significance, and to stay connected to your world, you now make your decisions from alignment, coherence, and building your legacy. You are guided. You have a strong connection to feeling safe within the kingdom of heaven, and you are supplied with new energy, vision, and resources to make this kingdom come alive in you and your world. From alignment builds coherence. Coherence is when the nervous system, mind, and body are congruent with your visions and actions. Your power is regenerative through utilizing all seven forces of life. And when alignment and coherence are present, a man can truly gain capacity. Capacity is the ability to hold your vision, responsibility, and influence without collapsing your health, family, or soul. You're no longer fragmenting power. You have a clear signal. Sovereign power is not force. It is a resilience within your body and a containment of your power. Alignment builds coherence. Coherence expands capacity. And increasing capacity through alignment and coherence is the containment of true power. And this is sovereign. Number two, sovereign health. One of my great passions in life. Sovereign health is the resilience of the body that carries your purpose. Leadership is not sustained by orientation and identity alone. It is sustained by a body that is water-rich, mineral-rich, oxygenated, flexible, and resilient. A sovereign leader must have a nervous system and a body capable of holding the electrical charge of leadership in seven forces of life. When the body is neurologically or biologically depleted, you're waking up tired and can't shake it. You crash between 2 and 5 p.m. You need coffee and energy drinks just to get through the day. You feel more frustrated and discontent with life because your liver is unconsciously, unbeknownst to you, your liver is congested with too much caffeine, heavy metals, and toxins. And all of this results in your authority slowly weakening every day. When your body is strong and vital, you can increase capacity without breaking and sustain your capacity for decades without fragmenting power. Sovereign health is not just about optimization. It's about having the biological integrity within the seven forces of life that sustains your alignment and coherence with each season and change of life. These are the seven forces of sovereign health to master: sunlight, respiration, hydration, remineralization, oxygenation, detoxification with strong digestive fire, and regeneration, peak cellular voltage, and whole body negative charge. These forces are derived from my hardcore life experience over 25 years, 55,000 hours of holistic medicine, and working at 3 holistic medical clinics, serving over 40,000 people in my life. Sovereign power leads to alignment. Sovereign health leads to biological and energetic coherence. Sovereign leadership is harnessing the awesome trinity of wealth dynamics, architecting flow, and integrating the full sovereign training systems for your team and company. That's coming soon. Alignment builds coherence. Coherence expands capacity, and expanded capacity allows a leader to lead without sacrificing his health, family, or flow in the process. It is alignment and coherence. It is a clear signal. It is where you take command of your woman and world and you penetrate this world with a clear, aligned signal. Before biohacks, before more protocols, before leadership strategies, before mindset work, you must know where you are leaking power. The question every leader must ask is, where are you really leading from now? Alignment or compensation? Are you operating with vibrant health, a clear command, and true coherence? Or do you feel something is off in your neurology, biology, or psychology? Introducing the Sovereign Power Profile, these questions became an assessment, not to change you, but to help you see clearly where you are aligned and where power may be fragmenting. If you've made it this far in the video, you already know something is off, not on the surface, but underneath the performance. The question is no longer if you're fragmenting power, it's where. The Sovereign Power Profile was built to show you exactly that. It's not a personality test, and it's not another tool. The Sovereign Power Profile is a diagnostic that reveals which mask is running your system, where power may be fragmenting, and what stage of the journey to sovereign power you are actually on. Take the Sovereign Power Profile now. Visit sovereigntrainingsystems.com/quiz or use the link below this video. The world does not need more successful leaders. It needs sovereign leaders, leaders who can hold their power without sacrificing their health, their alignment, their family, or their soul. Thank you for watching this video. My name is Artemis, founder of Sovereign Training Systems, and I invite you to take the Sovereign Power Profile below, and I'll see you in the next video.